Perhaps you were born for such a time as this. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Faith and Freedom. I want to first give a shout out to Sydney Sweeney for making jeans great again. I'm Shemane Nugent. We've got a great show for you today. Stay tuned till the end because I have a very important announcement for you, especially if you're a pet owner. Here's a hint. Go to getuncleteds.com. But first, in the Bible, the ones who stood for truth were never celebrated by the world. They were mocked and imprisoned and even killed. Why? Because truth is dangerous, and especially to those who live in lies. We're seeing it again from Trump to whistleblowers to ordinary Americans who stand for God, family, and country. And they're going to try to destroy all of us like that. And few people know that better than my next guest. Roger Stone was at the center of the Russiagate hoax, a media-made scandal. We all know that now. It was designed to take down President Trump and silence the people who spoke out. Roger was raided, smeared, prosecuted, not for lying, but for refusing to lie. And yet he's still here, still fighting for truth. Joining me now is longtime political advisor, writer, strategist, and man of faith, Roger Stone. Roger, it's good to have you back.
Man, it's great to be back with you again. And it is only through the grace of God. And I stand here as living proof that Jesus Christ and faith can do anything whatsoever.
Yeah, I want to ask you about that, Roger. I know your faith got you through this scandal. The media is still calling it Russiagate, but it was a setup from day one. What is the real agenda behind that hoax? I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, if you think otherwise, I think this is spiritual warfare. You were onto the truth and they didn't like it.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. So when they lost the 2016 election, they couldn't admit that they had lost an honest election. And now, thanks to the enormous courage and capabilities of Tulsi Gabbard, the director of national intelligence, we have absolute, stone cold, declassified proof that there was a seditious conspiracy to undermine Donald Trump based on a completely false narrative that he had been elected president with the assistance of Russian intelligence. And we now know this was based on two pieces of fabricated evidence, the so-called Steele dossier, which was a fake report that was paid for by Hillary Clinton and falsely claimed that Donald Trump, while visiting Moscow as a private businessman, had dallied with Russian prostitutes. It was a complete fraud. And then the secondary fake claim was that the Democrat National Committee had been the target of an online hack by Russian intelligence. And that's also false. There's no evidence to prove that. And now they are completely exposed. Now, you're right. The fake news media tries to continue as if none of this has happened, or to claim that the stunning information put forward by Tulsi Gabbard is unproven or somehow contentious when it isn't. The good news is that we heard today that Attorney General Pam Bondi has authorized a federal prosecutor to put this evidence in front of a grand jury, and there are people who are going to be held accountable. Whether Barack Obama, who clearly has now been proven to be the centerpiece of this seditious conspiracy, can be prosecuted is a debatable question. The Supreme Court decision regarding presidential immunity may shield him. But we also have absolute proof that Hillary Clinton knew about this plan and she approved it prior to be putting into place. So she could certainly be prosecuted. The CIA director, John Brennan, really the guy who orchestrates all this, forces the Steele dossier into the president's intelligence briefing in order to use it to rationalize the FISA warrants that were used to spy on President Trump and his campaign. Also used to rationalize the appointment of a special counsel, Robert Mueller, who arrested me in January of 2017, 2018, at 6 o'clock in the morning, when my home was swarmed by 29 heavily armed FBI agents wearing full SWAT gear, night goggles, brandishing M4 assault weapons. When Shemaine, all they had to do was contact my lawyer and tell him that I was being charged, but instead they staged this raid with CNN just conveniently 25 feet from my front door. And it was a very difficult time for me and my family. As you know, we lost everything: my home, my
Yeah.
savings, my insurance, my car, even to sell my electric guitar. That was really painful, just to
Oh
pay my
no.
just to pay my legal bills.
Oh
But
no.
as in the Bible, where Job lost everything because he refused to turn on the Lord, everything was returned to him sevenfold. And
Mm.
I'm working very hard, but the Lord has blessed me and my family, and we are on the comeback. Country's on the comeback, and I think thanks to President Trump and the wise appointment of Tulsi Gabbard, the truth has now been completely and totally exposed.
Well, it's been exposed, Roger, but here's what the word on the street is. When I talk to friends, and you've probably heard this as well, we want the truth. We know that it's being exposed, but do you think that Americans are going to finally get the truth and get an apology out of mainstream media? Now we're seeing even the DJ in New York, Howard Stern, got canceled. Uh, so many people are getting canceled. This is good, a step in the right direction. But where's the repercussions to you?
Well, all I really want here is justice. All I want to do is to see a recalibration of the system of justice so we don't have a two-tiered justice system. Like General Flynn, like President Trump, yes, I'm a victim, but I'm not interested in retribution or revenge. I am interested in making sure that those who perpetrated this hoax, not just on me, but on the entire country, are held accountable. And if a grand jury in Florida, because remember, this is an ongoing conspiracy, and therefore the raid on President Trump's home in Mar-a-Lago is connected to this entire conspiracy. That allows the evidence to be heard by a grand jury in the state of Florida. It could involve indictments in the state of Florida, trial in the state of Florida. That's what I would like to see. The media will have to cover that. There's no way they can not cover it as much as they might like to try. Just like they try to say that Tulsi Gabbard's stunning revelations are questionable. There's nothing questionable about them. These people are busted. We have the proof. It would stand up in court. It'll stand up in front of the grand jury. Now I'm very happy to hear that the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, is going to do her duty and take these crimes to a grand jury so that those responsible can be charged.
I hope so. But what would you say to Americans who are speaking out? I know two in particular, one who got literally poisoned, Roger, and another one and me, I'm banned, completely banned on TikTok, and I got hacked on Facebook and all my social media. What would you say to people who are trying to speak out and they feel that they've got that same target on their back, not as big as yours, but how can you give them any confidence or faith moving forward?
Well, Charmaine, you and I are in the same club because to this day, I'm banned for life on Facebook. I'm banned for life on Instagram. I'm banned for life at YouTube. I'm very grateful to Elon Musk to have my voice back on X, formerly known as Twitter. I was banned on 2017 on Twitter. They took away my voice. They never even explained why. I had 980,000 followers. When I was reinstated a little over a year ago, I had 25,000 followers. I have systematically built back my following up to about 870,000. By the way, I'm Roger J. Stone Jr., Roger J. Stone Jr. I'm verified there. Now, there's a bunch of Roger Stones on Facebook, but none of
But
them are me.
there's only one real Roger Stone. Roger, I got to leave it there. Thank you so much for fighting for America, standing up for truth, and for your faith. I really appreciate it. Thanks for joining
God
me.
bless you. Thank you for having me. God bless you.
God bless. Okay, I want to share another important announcement. Mike Lindell and My Pillow employees want to thank this audience for all your continued support. Mike has a passion to help everyone get the best sleep of their life. He didn't stop by creating the best pillow. He also has, I'm telling you, the best towels. I just used a towel, like all my pillow towels were in the wash. I used a different towel and it just smears the water. Like, go get Mike's products. He wants to thank you. Don't waste your money on designer products and spend your hard-earned dollars on products that were made overseas. Spend them right here in the USA. Don't wait. Don't hesitate. Mike's got a gift for you. Go to mypillow.com and you're going to receive $100 in free digital gifts. Mypillow.com and use the promo code FAITH, mypillow.com, and the promo code is FAITH, or call 1-800-933-6972. Don't go away. Lots more to come.
Relish the opportunity to be an outsider, because it's the outsiders who change the world.
Perhaps you were born for such a time as this. While drag queen story hours are still being promoted in libraries across America, more and more parents are saying no. Patriot parents are fighting back, and they're starting with books. See You at the Library has become a family-friendly, faith-filled movement, and Brave Books is leading the way. Joining me now is its founder, Trent Talbot. Trent, welcome back.
Hey, Shemane, thanks for having me.
So you launched See You at the Library to offer a peaceful alternative to drag queen events. How did it turn into this national movement with hundreds of locations?
Well, it started back in 2022 when Kirk Cameron launched a book with us, and we decided, hey, let's go do a story hour at libraries that had sponsored drag queen story hours. And so we sent requests to over 50 publicly funded libraries that did that, and they all said no. And so we reached out to our friends at First Liberty, and we filed a First Amendment complaint, and then they backed down. They let us do our story hours, and then it just became a big thing. We had thousands and thousands of people show up to every single story hour we did with Kirk, and we were traveling around the country. After like 20 or so of those, we got with Kirk, and we're like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we passed the torch to the average community leader who wants to host their own story hours at a local library? And so we did that in 2023. We did our first See You at the Library event, and it was incredible. We were in almost all 50 states. And then last year it grew, it like doubled. We did over 360 story hours across the country. We're in all 50 states. And this year it's going to be probably bigger than that. And so it just keeps growing. And it's just a bubbling up of this cultural feeling amongst Christians that say, hey, we're done sitting back watching as our children and children in our communities that we care about are exposed to deranged ideas and messages like the drag queen story hours. And so it's a push against that, and it's a fight for the heart and soul of the country, of the public spaces, and that's why it just keeps growing and growing.
Why do you think that mainstream media is not pushing this agenda, pushing the faith agenda? I mean, I talked to Kirk a few years ago, I think it was, or maybe a year ago. He came on the show, and it doesn't make any sense to me. Why wouldn't they want to push a nice message?
Yeah, I mean, mainstream media is typically run like the people in there, the bookers who book the guests and the talent. They're left leaning, and they have an agenda. They have a different agenda, a different vision for the country than we do. And so it just sort of spills out from there, their values, their beliefs, and their vision for the future. And we don't like that vision. We see a different vision of going back to the roots of how America was founded, of a country based on Christian values, Christian beliefs, and to us, it really starts with the kids. The kids are going to grow up to be the leaders of the country here in 20 years or so. And we at Brave Books, we believe that their imaginations, the stories they hear, the heroes that they look up to, the worlds they fall in love with, that imagination is going to shape, who they become. And every book that they read, every show that they watch is an opportunity to help build a solid moral framework, and to become more discerning of right and wrong. And so that's what Brave Book was birthed out of, is that belief and that vision. it's been well received, and I'm excited. I'm excited about See You at the Library this year. It's going to be huge. We're actually hosting we're partnering with the Department of Education. I know a lot of people think it no longer exists. There are still some people at the
Yep.
Department of Education. We're going to be partnering with them and doing a story hour at the Library of Congress. So it goes to show sort of all the ground that we've gained over the past few years.
Well, God bless you and thank you so much for doing this. My son is 35, so he's not going to libraries much anymore, but I think it's really important. Our parents and grandparents, we want our kids and grandkids to have access to faith-friendly books. I mean, that's how it used to be 100 years ago. Why are things changing? I know you just mentioned that it's mainstream media and who it's run by, but how can parents get involved, and what's your recommendation for them to help set up a library reading, or what can they do?
Yeah, the best way to get involved is seeyouatthelibrary.com. So you can go host your own story hour there, or you can find a local story hour near you and just attend and have fun. And it it's great that we're sort of doing a library takeover across the country on August 16th. But what's really cool about it is we talk to these hosts that do it. They have fun doing it, and the kids that come, the families that come to these stories, they have fun, and it sort of starts a it's like if you do something once, you're more likely to do it again. And these people often will host like a monthly story hour. So it's getting Christians back involved in the public space and sharing these important values, sharing these great stories. And so yeah, see you at thelibrary.com is the place to go.
So, what's next for you? You've got a streaming platform coming, retail expansion, and new titles coming out.
Yeah, we're always up to something new. We launched our first book in 2021, and for a few years that's what we were doing, but there's been so much demand and so much desire for these just entertainment that parents can trust with their kids' imagination, that we ventured into new spaces. We came out with Iggy Mr. Kirk earlier this year, which has been a smashing success, and launched our own streaming platform, Brave Plus, which you can experience at braveplus.com. And yeah, we're going to do a nationwide rollout in retail this fall. So the culture's shifting, and yeah, it's great. It's just great to get some wins on our belt, and it's good that people are seeing that. There's the people that are having kids. They want their kids to just be kids again, and
Yeah,
and not to have any propaganda promoted on them. Just pure great stories that build character as opposed to
yeah.
confuse.
Now, am I right? You were a doctor before you were doing this, and now you've got this national movement. How'd you get into this?
I mean, I had our first daughter in the summer of 2020, and so yeah, I was an ophthalmologist. I was doing cataract surgery every day, so that was my life. I I I was a born again Christian, at the age of like 35 in late 2018, and then my life radically changed. Met the love of my life. We had our first daughter in 2020 amidst COVID and the world going crazy, and when she was born, just the world that she was born into was a pretty wild one. If you look back at what we were all going through then, with the number one kids book on Amazon was Anti-Racist Baby, and just all the stuff, all the propaganda. I was very concerned for just the world that she was going to grow up in, and the Lord put some on my heart that I had this vision for Brave Books and the value it could bring to kids and parents from across the country, and just decided to give it a go and see what happens. And the Lord's blessed us in so many different ways. So it's been the oh, can you hear
You
me?
know what? It's Yeah, I gotcha. I gotcha. It's
Sorry
a
about that.
shame to have to say this, but you probably have experienced some backlash. Maybe not. And what has that been like for you? And how's your faith helped you continue this movement?
Yeah, I it's faith has been. I mean, without that, I wouldn't be here, and I wouldn't have done any of this. And yeah, for sure, we get a ton of backlash. Like there are uh, there are people that hate what we're doing, but I don't put my identity, in what people are saying about Brave Books or myself, on the internet. I put my identity in Christ. And so it really, if you do that, you don't get too concerned about little things like what they're saying on X or whatever, because there's somebody way more important whose opinion I value more.
Yes. And you know what? When I was growing up, I'm much older than you. When I was growing up, we would want people in high school to like us. And, you just wanted to be nice to everybody. And then the same thing is happening with social media. And you're right, 2020 brought in this new age where kids are just doing this. And I just saw a video of a baby, a toddler sleeping, and he's doing this in his
Oh,
sleep.
wow.
How can we? I'm sorry, I only got 20 seconds left. But what is your recommendation for parents who have young kids to get them off social media?
Don't give them screens. Like just don't give them screens, and give them books. Have them fall in love with great
Yes.
books, and
Yes.
books have a way of stirring the imagination, of activating the mind. They're so much more healthy. I know it's
Mhm.
easy when we want to run an errand or do something to throw a screen in front of them, but train their ability to read and to love stories, and hand them a book instead, and it'll just lead to a healthier kid, in my opinion.
Visit bravebooks.com. Trent, thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you so much, Shemane.
We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Relish the opportunity to be an outsider, because it's the outsiders who change the world.
Perhaps you were born for such a time as this. I get it. We don't always eat perfectly or drink perfectly. Look what I've been sipping on here. I mean, who doesn't love chocolate chip cookies or Fritos? That's me. But this is why I love Field of Greens, because one glass a day feels like nutritional armor for your body. Every fruit and vegetable is doctor selected for a specific benefit: heart health to lungs and kidneys and metabolism, even healthy weight. I notice the energy, but most of all, I love knowing that even on a cheat day or when I'm not eating or drinking what I should be, I'm still giving my body what it needs to stay strong. I can enjoy it guilt-free because of Field of Greens. It's the nutrition my body needs daily, and only Field of Greens makes you this better health promise. Your doctor's going to notice your improved health or your money back. So let me get you started with my special discount. I got you 20% off your first order. Just use the code FREEDOM at fieldofgreens.com. That's the code FREEDOM at fieldofgreens.com. So speaking of health, the reason that I'm here doing this show or doing anything pretty much on social media is because I got sick and almost died. I started getting migraines, debilitating migraines, and I had insomnia. And Ted had to rush me to the hospital on 2 different occasions because I thought I was having a heart attack. I had joint pains and so many other symptoms. And meanwhile, I was the walking poster child, should have been the walking poster child for health and fitness. I had my own aerobic studio back when it was aerobics in the 90s. And I was teaching 12 to 15 high intensity group fitness classes per week. And yet I was popping migraine medication like they were M&Ms. And I used to like M&Ms till I found out all the dyes in them. And no doctors could help me. So I had to become my own investigative sleuth. I had to figure out what was wrong. It couldn't have been just me. I was eating kale before kale was popular. And I went to the #1 migraine specialist in the world. And all he did was write me, I'll never forget, he didn't even look at me, write on the prescription pad different medications that I would need. If it was a level 1 migraine or level 2 or level 4, whatever, different migraine medications. And at one point I was on a beta blocker, or, I tried everything. And it was so frustrating because we should be healthy. God wants us to be healthy, right? But when you try things and they're not working, you've got to switch it up. Finally, Ted and I had met a guy. He was an attorney that was at our Sunrise Safaris or Sunrise Acres in Michigan. And he was an attorney, and he had represented about a dozen different homes that all of them were contaminated with toxic mold. And he said, let me just come over and talk to Shemane. I was supposed to make cookies. I usually made cookies for the hunters when Ted would go over there, but I had such a bad migraine this one time. And this guy said, let me just come over and talk to you for 10 minutes. Then you can kick me out. So he came over and he started the laundry list of all of our symptoms. And I'm going, Ted, did you tell him? This is personal information. Did you tell him all this? And he goes, no, I didn't. So I talked to another guy who recommended that both Ted and I go to a toxicologist, and we got our blood tested. This is how we found out. And both of our bloodstreams had 4 different types of mold in the bloodstream. I was also diagnosed with having pre-emphysema, and I was once named Detroit's most physical female, and I don't smoke. It's so frustrating when people don't believe you, they don't listen to you, and they think that, oh, well, you're eating kale and you're working out all the time. You should be okay. I actually had one doctor tell me, maybe I'm too healthy. I'm not kidding you. God bless Dr. Ty. Maybe I should go eat at McDonald's. That's what he said. Of course I didn't, but it just made me on this path, take this path that I've got to figure out what's wrong, not just for me, not just for my husband, but for our son. And our son started showing signs of extreme allergies and even asthma. He was on breathing medication. And I'm like, what is going on? Here's the good news. If it is good news, my husband's job is he is a musician, and he was on tour at the time, 150 days a year. So when we would go to these different cities and even countries, I'll never forget, we were in London, rainy London, but most of the buildings are very old. They're not built with the inferior products that we have right now in most of our building. You might think, oh, my house is only a couple of years old. It can't have toxic mold. Au contraire. We felt great in London. We slept great. And it was kind of like a wake-up call, like, wow, that's what sleep is supposed to be like. We came home and we weren't feeling well again. So we go to see this toxicologist. And I'll never forget when I walked into the office and I got the test results, the blood test, and also that I had pre-emphysema. And he got his little doctor prescription pad out and he started writing on it. And I'm thinking, great, more prescription drugs. But what he wrote on that prescription pad changed my life. And I want you to take this seriously. If you're not feeling well, it could be your house that's killing you. What he wrote on the prescription pad was, get out of the house. And you know what? You might think I'm crazy. We're crazy, but we decided to demolish the house that was once featured on MTV Cribs. If you go look up Ted Nugent and MTV Cribs house, that house is gone. It was our dream house. We demolished it, and we did what the doctor requested. We walked away from that home with just the clothes on our backs, and then we got rid of those. Went to, I think it was even Walmart or somewhere, and just bought some clothes, and we moved. And it's horrifying to think about that you have to change your life. But I want you to think about, riddle me this, Batman. Answer this one question. You have kids, right? If you have kids, what is your child's life worth? What is your life worth? Put a dollar figure on that. It's ridiculous, right? This is what we're dealing with toxic mold. And this is one of the reasons I wrote my book, Killer House. It's available on Amazon. Killer House is the air in your home killing you. And it's about how to recognize, remediate, and recover from toxic mold. And I also have a chapter in there about spiritual warfare. Spiritual warfare is real. Leviticus, it's in Leviticus. Toxic mold is in Leviticus, and it gives us instructions on what to do. I do believe that spiritual warfare had a big role to play in our mold exposure. And I'm going to keep fighting. I'm going to keep battling. And if you think that something's wrong with your home, there probably is. Check out killerhouse.org. That's my website. I'm going to have a brand new online program where you'll get to see more in-depth interviews that I do with doctors and lawyers and people like you and me who got sick. Their kids got sick. Wait till you hear these stories. Their kids got so sick and you feel helpless, especially when you see your own child struggling. So what do? My DMs and inboxes are full of people asking, well, what were your symptoms? Name a symptom. Because that's probably what can be caused by toxic mold. Headaches, migraines, joint pain, fibromyalgia, upper respiratory symptoms, allergies, obviously, asthma, joint pain, brain fog. And I'm going to say this, and even cancer can be attributed to toxic mold. This is nothing to laugh about. Go to killerhouse.org and check out all the free information there, the downloads. You can also take a look at my documentary trailer. And coming soon, I'm working on more of that documentary. We're going to be doing a docu-series. My son Rocco and I are working on it because there's just so much. Last week on this show, I had Emily and Josh, Rachel from Malachi's Message, and Rocco and I are going to be the keynote speakers at their December 6th event, which is raising money. Josh and Emily lost their baby to toxic mold. Again, it's a serious problem. I think it's the new asbestos problem. And don't kid yourself. They say 80% of homes have some form of mold. I'm going to venture to guess it's 100%. So check out Killer House on Amazon. I also want to share with you about my other book. Once I wrote Killer House, I was thinking, wow, I got to write something positive about how people can get well again. I do go into some of that in my Killer House book, but Abundantly Well is a 40-day wellness devotional. And at the end of every day, it's all designed so that you could read it and review it and contemplate it, just like we should be doing with the Bible, for just 10, 15 minutes a day. And in 40 days, guys, it will change your life. Now, I've been a fitness instructor since 1980, for a long time. And I figured out a thing or two that can help you lose weight and keep it off. I weigh the same now as I did 45 years ago. There was that one time when I was a little chubby. These are the tricks that I use in Abundantly Well to help me lose weight and keep it off without giving up my favorite foods and without spending 2 hours a day in the gym. I share it in Abundantly Well. I share it all with you. There's recipes, there's workouts, and I also give you some tips if this is you. Let's say you never worked out. You've spent 20, 30 years just helping your kids or your family or taking care of sick or ill relatives. Now it's time to focus on you, and you wake up and you go, wow, I don't even know where to start. I don't even know what to do. It starts with baby steps. And I give you a lot of tips and tricks on how to get started. It's not rocket science. Move your body every day. Eat a little bit cleaner, 80% clean, 20%, perhaps not so much. Life is meant to be worth living and enjoying. And move your body. And then I think prayer has changed my life. I think it will help you too. So check out Abundantly Well, available on Amazon, and also Killer House. Nothing to mess around with. You know, God wants us to be healthy so we can continue to do his good work. We can't do that if we're not feeling well, guys. So I give you in Abundantly Well, I give you simple prayers that you can say every night before you go to bed if you're like me, or all throughout the day. Take the book with you. And there's now an audio version. Yay! So check it out, Abundantly Well and Killer House, both available on Amazon. Buy a couple of books. I promise you, somebody's going to ask you what you're reading and you could share it with them. Don't go away, everyone. We'll be right back.
Relish the opportunity to be an outsider because it's the outsiders who change the world.
Perhaps you were born for such a time as this. Okay, we are out for our daily
celebrating the great spirit of the wild outdoors.
A lot of people realize that we are hunters. We love to hunt and we love to have pure lean venison. We're not always successful. So what do we do, Ted?
Switch to America with shemane beef.
We're gonna actually go home and have a ribeye right now. We pulled it out to thaw, and I'm super excited because we've both been out hunting. It's tough. It's not like you can go, okay, God, cue the deer.
I think I got 29 days in a row that the deer have avoided me. I don't know why that is, but we have switched to America with shemane beef to compensate for the days that the deer don't show up. Get the best, healthiest, natural beef in the world. I swear we believe in this stuff, and what goes into the sacred temple determines your quality of life and health. And quality beef, like Switch to America with shemane beef, is the best you can eat.
Now Jackson's way up there. We got to go catch him. Unfortunately, beef prices are sky high and supplies are dropping. But if you don't have Switch to America with shemane.com, you better get it. Go to Switch to America with shemane.com and you can get clean USA raised beef straight from the source. Join for just $1 and get a $52 monthly discount. And with school starting back up, beef jerky makes the perfect protein snack. 10 grams of protein, no sugar, no nitrates, all made right here in America. Find out more at switchtoamericawithshemane.com. You know, they're warning us about shortages, but the real danger isn't not enough food. It's that they're not telling us the truth. What's actually in our food and who made it? And sometimes they even actually glue it together, the beef that you buy in the store or get from restaurants, even nice restaurants. And with the USDA warning about a deadly new outbreak, the screw worm, unfortunately, crossing our southern border, it's never been more important to know where your food comes from. Joining me now is my friend, Tresha Rodriguez, manager at switchtoamericawithshemane.com. Tresha, welcome.
Oh, thank you. Oh, my goodness. What do you think of that? Now we have to worry about flesh-eating maggots. I just can't. That is just so disgusting. So yeah, apparently in Mexico, there's been a resurgence of the New World screwworm. So folks, don't get screwed by the screwworm. This is just absolutely disgusting. And I've read here, a Mexican flesh-eating parasite surged so fast that farmers in Texas and Mexico had to pour gasoline and lime on open wound cattle wounds. And this was back in end of July. So this is a flesh-eating parasite, the New World screwworm, causing significant problems for ranchers in southern Mexico. Another really good reason to keep our southern borders closed, right? Leading to the suspension of U.S. cattle imports. So yeah, this isn't good. And the fact is, Shemane, as we know, 16 different countries are importing beef into our country. So we don't know what's in our beef at the local supermarket. It's low quality, it's tainted, and now we have to worry about these flesh-eating maggots. It's not good. So,
people here have heard me talk about Switch to America with shemane.com. I'm not kidding. It's the best beef ever. And it gets delivered to your door. What's not to love? You don't have to go grocery shopping. But what does this mean, the screw worm? What does this mean for the American public? What are people going to do that they go to the grocery store?
It means that we have to go to switchtoamericawithshemane.com because you want to get clean, grass-fed beef that's made in a sterile environment. And we know that it's a vertically integrated ranch, meaning we're not importing or exporting anything. Everything stays on the ranch. So by all means, you don't want to go to Walmart. You want to stay away from the big box stores. We don't know if there's E. coli or what is, in the beef, how many cows are in the beef, what it's tainted with. And now we got to worry about these flesh-eating maggots that for whatever reason have just is a new resurgence in Mexico. Like we eradicated this in 1966, and now all of a sudden, and I find the name really interesting, don't you? New World screwworms. Yeah. I'm like, what's next, Shemane? What else are they going to try to kill us with? But
don't say that. Don't say that.
I know. I know.
It's crazy to think about, and the media wants us to be panicked.
Yeah.
But this is real, but also we've got these trade tensions and shortages.
Right.
I mean, give me your thoughts. Is it really just a cover for what's going on?
Oh, that's a good point. Don't you think that everything is a cover? I've just come to accept that. I think it's all just a cover. So, but fortunately, we can make good decisions. You can say to yourself, okay, I'm not going to support the big box stores with their poisons, and I can defund the corporate criminals. You can actually take it away and vote with your dollars. So this is an excellent way to do that. And it is a mission that I'm very proud of. So the switch to America with shemane.com really does mean something. You cannot support the corporate criminals and whatever cover story they're making, or now it's the New World screwworm. So yeah, make the switch with shemane.com. I know it is unbelievable. When I started reading about this, I said, so now it's flesh-eating maggots? Like, really? Okay, so we shut our southern borders. That's good, but we do have to be very, clear about what we're supporting and what we're doing, because it's just not safe. It's just not safe. So, and they can label the beef USA as long as they add some value to it. That's the scary part about it. You can say, oh, but it's made in the USA.
That's what I was going to ask you. How do they get away with that?
That's Shemane. I don't know, but I can only use my dollars and come on and say, hey, we've got an alternative to this. I'd love to change the world and say, this is wrong. This can't be done. But you do have a choice. You don't have to support this deception and the criminal acts of the corporate structure. So switch to America with shemane.com. You get delicious grass-fed beef, clean, with the never ever label. It's delivered in vacuum sealed, by the way. So no air. You don't have to worry about the screwworm. And yeah, vertically integrated ranch. No better beef, right? Shemane, it's delicious. And by the way, yes, you mentioned I've got some of this on the way to you, a fresh batch, but yeah, 10 grams of protein, 0 sugar, absolutely delicious. So this is like a great back to school snack too. The beef jerky. I love it. I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed.
I love it. I've only got about 50 seconds left, but you know what? This is really, it reminds me that COVID brought us a gift. And that is we are ordering online more, and we are getting things delivered right to our door and leaving the middleman behind. But Switch to America with Shemane Beef is like, this is like a movement. Like people, you probably get comments from people saying, wow, this is great. And thank you. Don't you?
Yeah, I do. Shemane, I do all the time. And I get feedback. I get text messages. I need to share more of them with you because people say, oh my God, this is absolutely delicious. And he goes really thick on his cuts. And I've mentioned this before. If you want to align yourself with conservative values, they pray over their food. They've never had a poison control call. So you're safe with the Switch to America with shemane.com beef. You'll absolutely love it.
Tresha, thank you so much for joining me again. And I'm sure we'll be talking soon.
Thank you for having me on. Thank you.
Absolutely. God bless. Okay. You know what time it is, but before I tell you about the funny pet videos, before we show you those, I want to tell you about something that Ted and I are doing. And if you go to getuncleteds.com, you're going to love what we're having to offer because it's something new. Our dogs are not just pets, they're part of our family. And for years, we've searched for clean, effective supplements that actually work. We found it and we're making it ourselves. It's called Uncle Ted's Natural Canine Supplements, and it's loaded with bioflavonoids. And those are the powerful plant compounds that help boost your dog's immune system, brain function, and even their joint health. Ted and I have been using it with our dogs for a while now, and it makes a difference. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Head to getuncleteds.com and check out our new pet supplements. And be sure to visit my website, shemanenugent.rocks, for resources that you're not going to find anywhere else. Follow me on Instagram. I've got lots of exciting projects just around the corner that might just change your life. Get my books on Amazon, Abundantly Well and Killer House. And remember, Esther 4:14, you were born for such a time as this. God bless. I'll see you next week.
Relish the opportunity to be an outsider, because it's the outsiders who change the world.
Perhaps you were born for such a time as this.